Hey guys, here we are back at the job here in Enid again, and we're back to another Business Monday. Today I want to talk about what's required to start the business that I operate in the state of Oklahoma. I had to renew all my paperwork this week, so I thought I'd go ahead and share with you guys what's involved in it here. And I'm also curious if you have any input on your state. Is my state a little stricter than yours, less strict, anything like that? Comment down below and let me know what your opinion is. What do you have to deal with where you are as far as licensing, regulations, fees, etc. Here, step one is to obtain workman's compensation. Now, if you are a sole proprietor and you don't want to carry workman's comp on yourself, then the state has a certificate or an affidavit of exempt status, and you can fill this out, and it's about $50 for 2 years, and you don't have to carry workman's comp on yourself. If you do want to carry workman's comp, that's acceptable as well. Either paper will work. You have to submit to the city here a copy of either your comp or your exempt status to be on file with them, and you have to renew it in time before it expires each period. The second thing that's required here is a bond. The city requires a $10,000 bond where I am in order to operate inside city limits. This usually costs me right around $100 a year. So fairly insignificant expense, what, $8, $9 a month, and you can have one of those. As long as you've never had a bond claim before or something like that that give you a different level of problems. The other requirement is general liability insurance. The city here recommends that I carry $500,000 minimum in general liability. I personally carry a $2 million policy for general liability because I like to be very protected in what I do, and sometimes I am touching houses that are probably exceeding that $500,000 mark. I don't want to have any problem if I'd ever do something that make a mistake. Anybody can. The policy also has little riders for, like, if you break a granite countertop or you drop a window you're putting in and break tile on the floor, something like that. There are thousands of dollars divided into other riders on there that can be used to cover damages like that. So you want to be very sure that your policy covers everything you need it to cover. Recently we've started bidding on more commercial projects, and I had to update my policy to a commercial general liability, general contractors. Yeah, all of that. General contractors, commercial, general liability insurance policy. So we've had to go to that, which cost, probably around a 60-70% increase in my premiums to get all that done. But now I'm covered for residential, commercial, and everything. Just be sure that you go down to your local code enforcement or contractor board. We don't have a contractor board in the state of Oklahoma. There is no license, like state license, to be a general contractor. All you have to do is file those required paperwork that we just discussed here, those 3 items, with your local city, and you can go to work. And smaller towns don't even have that. If you live in a very small town in this state, you probably don't even have code enforcement. I know several towns that I have rental houses in don't even have a city office. Literally, the town hall will be the size of a shed, and that's just where the local mayor and whatnot, that's probably your neighbor, goes down there and does his thing once in a while. But that's not true in this city. This city has 50,000 people, give or take, and so we have a fully functioning city code department and enforcement and engineers and everything that we need to get things done like that. So with all of that comes the requirement to file all your paperwork with your city and everything. I don't know if there are different bond requirements for, like, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, but that's what it is for where I'm at in this town. And your state is probably different. Don't take this as a blanket comment for everywhere. That's definitely not. This is specific to where I am. I love it here, but I know some places you have even tighter regulations. I know Alan over on Honestly Handyman, he deals with a limit per job of $500 per job in the state of California. But here in Oklahoma, if I file those 3 papers with my local city, I can do anything. I can build a house, I can remodel a house. There are no monetary limits on any jobs that I can perform. I am fully covered. When you move to a lot larger projects, though, you will want to check with your city and make sure you don't need a larger bond filed with them. So far, I haven't run into that issue, but we'll see. I'm on one now that may require that to be upped. This is that whole home remodel that I shot a video in here the other day on while we were working. When we got in here and had a buddy come up and help me get this all tiled. Shout out to Michael if he's out there and sees this one. I think he's on the channel, so he may. We got a lot of the Formica stuff done this week. A lot of the painting's almost done in here, and we're wrapping this house up. But just be sure to go down and make a good relationship with your code enforcement. You want to make sure that you don't alienate them right off the bat, because they can make your life a lot tougher in this business. So make sure you build that relationship. If you have a question about a job and you wonder if it's something that's going to require a permit, something like that, go down there and ask them. That's what they're there for. They're employees of the city. They're usually, if you're friendly to them, you're nice, I don't know, maybe drop in with a box of donuts your first time and leave it for the office there. I'm sure that might be something they'd appreciate. But go down and visit with them. There's usually a front desk person, and you can establish an email with them where you can email them questions anytime you like, and they're usually back to you immediately because they're sitting there with that city email address open on their computer, and they get answers right back to you. I know with me, if I'm wanting to file a permit, say I need to build a fence at a certain person's house tomorrow, I've already done my calling in for the ground check for cables and everything with the call Okie 811, then all I have to do is email her and say, hey, I'm building a 6-foot wood fence located at 338 West Cherry. Is there any problem with going ahead and get me a permit written for this? I'm doing it for the property owner. No problem. The permit will be ready for you that way when you get to the building. Otherwise, if you go down there, you fill out the permit, you mess around, you can end up having to make a trip or two to the city that you can save yourself by having a good relationship with them and just emailing back and forth and getting things done. And it's all about saving those miles, saving the trips and everything. Once your job's approved, email the city, make sure you don't need anything from them for that job. Some jobs you get into are a little larger. We're heading into a larger one now where we're going to be required to use an engineer, an architect, and have drawings done for the project. When you get into more commercial work, you can get into things like that and be sure that you know all of those things going into a project. The final thing you need before you jump right on that very first job, because you are now a licensed general contractor with your city, is a contract. You need to get a contract. There's a guy on, I believe, Remodelers Worldwide, actually, Jonathan Kaiser. If you look him up, he sells a wonderful contract that's very well vetted and everything. But whatever you do, go to a local attorney after you write a contract or have one written, and make sure your contract is binding in the state and area that you're in. A contract keeps everybody honest in the transaction. It not only binds the customer to following your payment terms, your schedule of work, and everything else, it also binds you to completing the work by a scheduled date, with a scheduled cost, with scheduled pay periods, who's paying for everything. It keeps everything crystal clear. You don't want to have any misunderstandings on these things. If they're not written down, they didn't happen. That's just the way it is. A handshake agreement is fantastic, and I do that with a lot of customers that I have. But if you're getting into commercial, you're getting into any work where you don't absolutely know this person, please use a contract. And at this point where I'm at, unless it's an actual family member or someone where if I don't get paid, I'm willing to just let it go, I'm going to have a contract. Every single job. If I'm showing up, though, to say, hang a TV or something, generally my text exchange with the person and the understanding that the minute I get done with the job, I expect to be paid, that is sufficient for something like that. For me, anyway. If you want a contract for those as well, no problem. Go for it. If you could maybe set it up where they could sign it online and submit it to you. I have that set up for my rental properties. A lot of people now can go online and fill out a rental application that's submitted to me, and then I don't have to, try to meet them a second time to pick up the completed application, that type of thing. Just set it up where it works conveniently for you. Have a contract available on your computer that you can email to project people. The back of my contract, I have a paper that I attach to every one of them, and that is my proof of insurance, my proof of bond, and that's all they need to know. I am properly bonded, properly insured, and I'm able to do the job. Depending on the insurance carrier you have, they may also allow you to offer a live certificate link. Mine does that, so that I actually have a little HTML code that I can just copy and text it to a potential customer, and they can click on it and pull my insurance right up and see what I have and know that I'm covered for them and that my policy's active. You don't want to be one of those people, and this happens with auto insurance. I don't know how many people try to pull this with contractors insurance, but buy a year-long policy with monthly payments, okay? Make that first payment, print that policy out, cancel it. And when you do that, you're completely not covered, and all you're doing is trying to cheat your way into people's houses. Do not do that. That is illegal, okay? There's the same thing that happens when people do it with their auto insurance, and then they hit somebody and they're actually not covered, even though they have that proof of insurance in the car to show somebody. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. Pay your bills, keep everything legitimate, make friends with your code department, do as you're told with them, and when they tell you you need a permit to do that, don't say, well, we'll do it on Sunday and it'll all work out just fine because nobody's going to see it. I could give you some examples there, I won't, but you will get caught eventually and you won't like it. So keep everything above board right from the beginning, and the people down there will be a whole lot easier to work with. Everything will go a whole lot more smoothly for you, especially starting out a new business. Don't make mistakes like that. It's not worth it. You're wanting to become a larger money-making, profitable business. That's why you're watching this video. That's why I'm doing these on Mondays now. Do that. Follow the steps to become a real legitimate business for your area. And until you do, follow the rules they have for your handyman permitting if it's allowed in your area. Do what you're allowed to do only and work toward the next license that you need. In some states, this is a whole lot more difficult to do. So, sorry guys. But here it's pretty great. And I don't mind the regulations that I have on me. To me, it's not that horrible. But it only gets a little more complicated when you start to add employees and you need to carry comp on them and liability and all that. But this is more directed toward the person that is starting out, and it's probably just you. So thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate your subscription. I'm going to try to stop asking for those very often once I pass 1,000 subscribers. But right now we're still headed toward that number, hopefully sooner than later. And I appreciate every one of you that's here, and I hope you got some value out of this video. And feel free to comment below and let me know what your regulations are like where you are, if you think they're worse or better than where I'm at. And let me know if you have another idea for questions you have about starting this business, operating this business. I'm wanting to do one on estimating possibly next, because I have some good examples here lately of some of those that have gone exactly like I wanted them to. But thank y'all for being here. We'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it to somebody if you have a friend that's thinking about starting a business. Help them out. See y'all later.